An ocean is a massive body of water with much potential. It has the capability of getting a person from one place to another with, of course, the aid of some sort of device. It provides sustainability for the human race with its many sea creatures that can be used for nourishment. Although there are many upsides to this beneficial body of water, it is also a deadly object, able to destroy whole civilizations in a single moment. Imagine a sandcastle that has been carefully crafted by the most proficient of hands. Every inch of this castle has been sorry. Every inch of this castle has been carefully thought through and designed with the utmost detail. After a long day of working on the sandcastle, you decide that it's finally perfect. Once you're done, you step back just to take it all in. You look at your wonderful masterpiece and how hard you worked on it, and you cherish it. Once you are gazing upon this sight, you notice something out in the near distance, something big, a wave. The energy surges through the water and straight towards your beloved sandcastle. The wave has already been formed, and there is no way you can possibly stop it. All you can do is hope that everything you've spent a long time dreaming about doesn't soon fade away in a single instant. Closer, with every moment you worry, the wave only seems to be building momentum and exponentially growing. You cringe. By the time the wave reaches your castle, it is about 10 times the height. Without hesitation, the wave topples with all of its immense energy onto your beloved work of art. What was once beautiful is now just a heap of sand, broken down dreams. You look with anguish onto what was once your pride and joy, and you immediately face regret. You could have spent your day doing something differently to avoid this major issue. Everything you worked so hard for gone in a single instant. Student loans carry much of the same effect. While it may seem hard to believe, student loans have the capability of ruining a young person's life and their many hopes and dreams for the future through its negative, long-lasting effects. They are much like a wave described above. They are beautiful because they provide hope for the non-wealthy student who cannot afford college, and yet at the same time they have the capability to destroy one's hard-earned work and dreams. They may seem small at first, but over time they become big, thrashing, powerful wave unwilling to stop for any man. But are student loans only bad or good? This is an argument that will be discussed in this speech to you guys. It is a question that many prospective college students are asking themselves as they enter into college schools. First, the former argument will be fought for, and then I'll go into a little bit of detail on why they can be a good thing. But the main focus of this speech is to show the long-term effects for taking out student loans. The first thing that I would like to say is that student loans can be an extremely bad thing. One great point to argue this is that student debt can significantly delay one's life. By that, I mean that the issue of paying off student loan debt can steal away opportunities for great prosperity and happiness through an individual's life. This is proven through a survey recently conducted by the American Student Assistance, which shows that those individuals carrying student debt are delaying decisions to get married, to buy a home, to have children, to save up for their retirement, and to even enter into the job field that they're desiring, even going to school and taking out those student loans for their major. Trying to get a job in that major can be extremely difficult carrying that amount of debt. So you can see it's kind of counterproductive. The last point is especially baffling since the main reason why a student enters college is with the hopes that they will enter their desired job field. It seems that the points just kind of cancel each other out, like I said before. Another reason why the decision to take out student loans is an unwise decision is because upon graduation, one could find himself drowning in student debt with no guarantee that he will get a job or get a job that even has high enough wages to compensate for the amount of debt that he is carrying. According to the ASA, the average student loan borrower in 2011 graduated with $26,600 in loans. Think about that for a moment. This is not even considering those attending private or prestigious schools. This is solely community college schools, which tend to have lower tuition rates anyway. There is always the good chance that the graduate carrying the debt will not be able to find a job in the field they are studying. Suddenly, they find themselves in a sea of debt that they can't hope to repay without the job in their field. This leads to the next negative effect of student loan debt, and that's depression. We don't really think about this, but student loans can actually cause depression because they give you a sense of hope in the moment that you can pay your school, and then suddenly you exit school with, like I said, $26,000 in debt, and you don't even know how to repay it off. Back in 2006, a study was conducted by the Psychiatric Mobility Surveys on 2,406 participants, which discovered that financial difficulties among college students was directly associated with increased occurrence of major depression. The typical downhill process goes something along these lines. So a student invests a mass amount of money into his or her school. The vast majority of this money must be taken out in student loans because the student is not able to work and attend at the same time because of how demanding the coursework is. I don't know if you guys have ever had to try to have a job while you're in school, but having a job while you're in school takes away time from your studies. And if you're trying to do really well so that you can exit your degree having a really good understanding and prepare you for that workforce job, then you want to put all of your attention towards it. So it's really hard to balance school and work. And I understand that personally because I actually had to take a year off of school because I just couldn't handle the coursework load along with 30 hours a week, which is what I needed to work in order to make most of the payments for my school. The student graduates with about $80,000 in debt, which is even just unfathomable. Suddenly, the economy starts to crash and change significantly, and the field of study the graduate desires to join is no longer an option. Suddenly, stress just encompasses the graduate as they attempt to pay off their debt with a minimum wage job that they do not even enjoy. The paychecks that come in are barely enough to cover the interest payments, let alone the actual debt itself. The stress of failure consumes you like a hungry lion consumes a helpless, worn-out gazelle. This mindset causes you to enter a stage of depression that hinders your life. The graduate is now delayed in life because of their student debt and their depression. Student debt becomes a domino effect of negative effects hindering one's prosperity. Counseling for prospective college students is one of the most unadvertised form of help that one can receive. Oftentimes, we do see financial counselors among college campuses, but rarely do we see financial advisors in high schools. Having a financial counselor in high school is a strategy that not many young people know how to take advantage of. It is pretty obvious that the outcome of a student who educates themselves early on concerning their financial situation will be much better off than the student who comes into college with no understanding about how college student borrowing works. It is in the best interest of the student and universities of the high school to provide education to their students. There was a study conducted actually back in 2008 by Laura W. Perna and a team of socioeconomics scientists to get a better idea of what high school students' perception on the topic of student loans was. There was a very thorough study conducted in 15 different high schools scattered across the United States, in which students were asked questions such as the following. What are the high school students' perception of loans? How do the parents of the school staff shape the student's perception of loans? What other forces contribute to the student perception of loans? And how do students' perception of loans vary across schools? The results that followed this study were pretty stable across the board. At every one of these 15 schools, every student had at least some kind of idea of what a student loan was and what it was used for. This reveals that the students know that there is a financial payment option. However, the students and the parents were both analyzed. The results revealed that students' perception of loans is pretty much directly influenced by their parents' perception of loans. In the more middle to upper class families, it was concluded that most students and parents are not completely against loans, but rather in favor of them because of the degrees one can attain through that and the sustainability that the degree will provide for the student. On the flip side, the lower to middle class families were pretty much all against the act of taking out student loans. Parents claimed that it was irresponsible to use money for school that a student doesn't have and rack up interest on them as well. There was also a greater concern among the lower class that a student might not be able to find a job in their field later to pay off that debt. While student loan debt can be compared to that of a giant wave capable of destroying one's dreams and aspirations, and it can also provide hope to the student. But at what cost? Are you willing to deal with the amazing amount of interest racked up, the debt that can be associated with it, the depression that can be associated with it? That's why it's so important that everyone is to educate themselves on student loans before taking them out. There's so much that we don't even take into consideration when we decide to borrow that money, but it is for your best interest to do your own research on this topic and make sure you understand how student loans work, how interest works, how paying this off later will work. Do you have a guaranteed job? Is anything guaranteed after college? It's so important for you to be asking yourself these questions now before you take these loans out than after and live with the regret and depression that you have to deal with.